You are a hero, an icon of Thea, ready to live and die for causes that matter. You bravely take on dozens of thugs with swords, knives, and guns all on your own. You are the trusted knight, a loyal bodyguard, or even an adventuring queen herself. This is a game of high adventure, mystery, action, intrigue, and romance. This is 7th Sea.
DadGamingOnline lead the way. New RPG systems every day. Dice roll quick adventure calls. Walking through tabletop's golden halls. Masters of pen and paper. RPGs of every flavor. Talking about different creators. The choice of games is never greater. Come with us to games they run through. New, old, and interesting. Thank you all for listening.
Welcome in, everybody. Episode 27. My name is DG. I am your co-host, joined by this man. His name is...
Benny, hey, how's it going?
Dude, today we are talking about 7th Sea, and I gotta tell you, man, I had never heard of this game, shocker, I know, until you brought this to my attention, and once I picked that book up, man, I could not put it down. This one is very, very interesting, and it's an older game, too. I didn't expect that. Not old like D&D old, but I mean, late 90s, like... That's cool.
Yeah. So we're talking late 90s, early 2000s. This edition of 7th Sea that we're talking about today is the second edition.
Mm-hmm.
A little different from the first edition. Not very...
It said in the book that it used modified text from the first edition. That's the exact phrasing right out of the book. So.
Yes.
Yeah, and from what this the concept here is like Three Musketeers, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dread Pirate Roberts, like that kind of thing. Like we are your fantastical pirate / 17th century hero of sorts.
Yes, exactly.
On a adventure of some kind with cunning and daring and sword fighting and sailing and all kinds of fun stuff tucked into it.
Yeah, it's fun.
There's a lot of cool stuff in this.
There's a lot of really cool stuff. So we're talking Swashbuckling and Sorcery.
Yeah.
This is second edition here is by Chaosium and Wick Presents.
Mm-hmm.
Now, John Wick, not the gun-toting, bing banging guy. He is a more modest man.
Okay.
John Wick was a freelance writer in 1995, and he was submitting articles to Shadis magazine. This was an Alderac Entertainment AEG independent magazine.
Okay.
And in doing so, he caught the attention of the higher-ups, and they actually brought him in fold and was like, hey, you can work for us.
Yeah.
And we will guarantee you a paycheck. You won't have to freelance anymore. He's like, heck yeah.
Yeah, I love money. That's fantastic. And we should clarify, this isn't that John Wick, the one, Keanu Reeves John Wick.
No, this is Keanu.
This is tabletop RPG freelance writer John Wick, who is now contracted to work for AEG John Wick.
Yes. And John Wick is from across the pond, so I apologize if we pronounced your name wrong. I don't think we did, but...
Mr. Wick.
Mr. Wick. He... Soon after he starts with AEG, he leads the design team working on a little game called Legend of the Five Rings role-playing game, episode incoming, which releases in 1997. The first edition of 7th Sea was published in 1999 by AEG and was designed by John and Jennifer Wick, his wife at the time, along with one Kevin Wilson, who designed our beloved Arkham Horror.
Oof, that is a prize.
Yes,
and gives you an understanding about what you're in for when you talk about like the game here, right? And it's like
there's
a lot
of layers
going on in this game.
John left the company shortly after finishing his work with the Avalon Sourcebook, which is, I believe, the third book that he worked on with AEG. Then, during his time away, he actually starts another company called Wick Presents and releases a game called Orc World. I am going to track this down because episode incoming.
That's two in one, and that's two episode incomings in one episode.
Two in one game, yeah.
So, yeah.
And this is around 2000-ish, right around when D&D 3E is releasing, not 3.5, 3E. In 2004, AEG rebranded 7th Sea into a they didn't rebrand it into a Swashbuckling Adventures. They rebranded it into the Swashbuckling Adventure. And it worked with a D20 system. And then after poor sales, they're like, hey, this sucks. Let's try going back to the D10 system that we had before. And we'll get into the system later.
Yeah. And
right now,
and there was a point in time where they were running both too.
Yeah, they did a hybrid messy thing where it worked both ways.
Like they're just throwing darts at the wall here or something. Like,
a mess.
We'll get into the system, but I mean, I'm glad they went back because this game does not work with the D20.
Shortly after this, I'll have you know, AEG stopped doing TTRPGs and they just do board games now.
Okay.
Such as Smash Up.
Smash Up's fun.
It is a fun game. Yeah.
It's not in depth by any means, but it's a fun game.
We're looking around 2009, and John starts a new company called John Wick Presents. And in 2015, he gets the publication rights from AEG to make 7th Sea. Now, he also kickstarts a second edition of 7th Sea in March of 2016. It fulfills. And this edition that we are talking about now is the one that is the Kickstarter version.
Yeah, that's what we're looking. That's what we're looking at today is the Kickstarter one. Yeah.
In 2019, Chaosium announces that they acquire the rights to the product line and they take it from there, and it is into production from here on out.
Yeah. And there's then like there's a storied history here, but that's kind of on brand for this game, right? Like
it is.
There's a lot going on here. From what I understand too, Chaosium hasn't really changed anything with the edition that was put out, the Kickstarter version of it, right? It's just basically they're acting as like a production crew of sorts, right?
They've acted as producers, yes, and they have. I believe they've put out some of the extra source material that has gone as well.
And Chaosium's put out some fantastic games themselves. So I mean, this is good.
Chaosium is the ones that do Call of Cthulhu. They do the Delta Green. Like, you know, they're not a small company.
They know what they're doing.
Yes, exactly. They have been around for a while. But yeah,
it's good.
Nifty.
It's always good to have a really hefty history behind the games, and especially one like this too, just to see like where it began and where we're at today, kind of thing. That I appreciate that, and for John, if you're listening, I'm glad that you were able to get back the rights to the game if you designed it, because there's probably nothing worse than designing a game when you're working for a company, leaving said company or have the company does whatever the company decides to do, and then it's locked away from you, right? Like something you created, you're not allowed to have, kind of thing.
That's got to be disheartening.
Yeah,
to all these designers.
I'm glad that you were able to recollect that. But I think, Finney, it's time for us to crack the cover of this book and dive into the nuts and bolts of this, and really talk like what are we doing here? Like all I knew going into this was like, oh, I see, this is like a Pirates-esque type game.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Not too far off, but very, very high level.
So the game is set in a fictional world called Thea. And this is a fantasy version of 17th century Europe.
Yep.
Specifically. And it has little sprinklings of magic
fantasy.
in there. Because
a little fantasy in there.
TTRPGs all have magic. What do you?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you want?
I could see how you could cut magic from this game if you wanted to.
Very easily, yes.
But there's just something about like playing essentially what Pirates of the Caribbean is. That's really cool, I think, too. So
just a sprinkle of magic makes the difference, right?
And it's funny looking at the map because you're like, that's Europe. It's like, that's
so it is.
Europe.
It is. It's a alternate dimensional Europe.
Yeah, this is a mirror
basically.
Universe game.
Yeah. This game is very narrative forward.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're telling stories, baby.
We do a lot of storytelling, not a huge amount of dice rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Asterisk, because there is dice rolling.
There's a lot of dice rolling, but it's very selective dice rolling.
Yes. So, for example, you don't dodge, right?
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. There's
say,
no dodge.
I dodge.
There's no dodge
I take
skill.
the dodge. I take the dodge action. Well, no, you don't. What the game wants you to do, and this is the whole way
about it. Yep.
through everything about this game. They want you to come up with something more interesting to do, something narratively interesting to happen. So instead, you might say something like, I slash the rope and hold on to it as the chandelier comes crashing down between me and the villain, and I, get away for a hot second, and then the villain slashes the rope and you fall down and he gets closer to you. Stuff like that.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, the intention is to keep the narrative front and center. The intention here is we're telling a story and we're all super invested in it. So we the players need to also lean into it. And that's the concept. I think it said something in the game, in the book, about like saying I dodge is boring. And we don't want boring. What we want is flair. So we want you to, I'm going to slash out, intentionally missing so that they lean back. And when they lean back, I'm going to scurry the other direction or something, right? Like explaining the whole thing.
We are telling a mid-90s action movie.
Yeah, this is The Princess Bride.
Right? This is The Princess Bride, right? This is Last Action Hero, stuff like that, right? We're
Star Wars,
something
right?
has
like this
to
is
happen.
There's like actions and consequences to said actions.
Something that is very awesome of Chaosium. They do have the free version. It's a quick start guide to this game, so it's got a pared down set of rules, and it's
like the basic rules kind of thing. Like, here's everything you need in order to try the game out.
Honestly, if you guys have been listening to this podcast for this long, you know what a quick start is, right?
Yep.
It is what it is. If you don't, go back to episode 1.
Yeah, check it out.
We'll wait.
We talk about that.
You got a few hours.
The game that's posted on the Chaosium website, completely free. We'll put a link in the description for you to snag a copy if you want to just check it out. Obviously, we'd recommend checking out the full game, but if you want to dip your toes in the water, just see what 7C is all about. It's completely free. Just go and check it out.
It is. Yeah. We are playing on a D10 roll and keep everything system.
Now that's new.
That is new.
Sorry, that's new. That's new to this show.
New-esque. I think Vampire the Masquerade kind of did something like this,
similar,
where you did the dice pool kind of thing. But this is very unique.
And I love it.
So you get a dice pool, and by combining traits and skills, you add them all together, you get this mitt full of D10s, and you roll them all across they roll everywhere, and you count them all up, and you basically make sets of 10. You basically have to meet or exceed a set DC.
Yeah,
whatever.
The GM's going to tell you this thing, you're going to need to roll this many sets of 10, and then something's going to happen, either good or bad, depending on how you roll.
Yes. Depending on how you roll. Yes. As all good TTRPGs should.
Yeah. And we'll get into the concept later. Don't worry about it. It's a little bit complex, but honestly, once you understand it, it's very simple. I really like the concept. It is cool. And who doesn't like rolling handfuls of dice? Like that's peak gaming, in my opinion.
Other than the fact that I might not have enough D10, so I have to buy more dice.
Well, I mean, I look at that as a net positive too, to be perfectly honest. What? I have to buy more dice? Oh, man. Oh, guess I
We are
gotta
not
go and
endorsed
get a couple more sets.
We are not endorsed by Wizard or any other dice. No,
Chessex, hit us up.
please. Papa need them dice. So basically, we have nations, quote unquote. And these nations are our races of this game.
Basically.
Now, there are quite a few of them, and each of the nations is a mirror universe version of 17th century Europe. So we have places like Avalon, which is very much English, Englandy. We got Castile, which is Spain.
Makes sense.
Eisen, which is Germany. The Highland Marshes, which obviously is Scotland.
Yep.
Innsmore, which roughly around Ireland. Montagne is I'm not French, obviously.
Yeah.
So that is France.
That's France.
The Sarmatian Commonwealth is around Poland, Lithuania-ish.
Yeah. Usura.
Usura.
Yep.
Not Uhura.
Not Usura.
Usura is Russia. And you're gonna have to help me out with this one, buddy.
I did this one. I did this one earlier. Vestin Manavinar.
There we go.
Vestin Manavinar. That's our Sweden. That's our Sweden. Vestin Manavinar. I'm sorry.
Man, that is rolling off your tongue.
It's because I love it so much, and if I create a character, that's where they're coming from.
That's fair.
I want to be a Viking, damn it.
And we got Vodashi, which is Italy.
Of course, yeah. We are saying the actual like country IRL Europe.
Yeah.
It's not listed that way, right? We just kind of want to draw a line so you understand where it's coming from. It's not like it's listed at Vodachi as Italy. It's just obviously been based on that. And each one of these nations comes with its own backstory, its history, how the nation works, how the government is.
Special kit
Everything.
Of abilities that you get.
Yeah, it's very,
like
very specific because you don't really have classes, so to speak, in this game.
No.
You have these nations. You hail from one of these nations, and hailing from one of these nations nets you the list of things from that nation.
Yeah. That's how that works. Speaking of, why don't we just create a character?
Let's make a character. It's a fun part of every game.
It's way more fun that way. And boy, howdy, this is quite the character creation. This will take a little bit. So, strap in, kiddies, because here we go. First off, we need to come up with a concept of the character. So basically, what kind of character do you want to? Do you want to be like a queen that goes out fighting in the night, or like like one of the Musketeers, or Swashbuckling no-gooder, anything in between, right?
And if you're following along in the book, just so you can follow along with us, we are on page 133. That's where the hero creation starts. The whole hero creation, character creator, starts on 116, but a lot of that is the details of the various nations.
Yes.
So the actual hero creation starts on 133, and that's where we're at here with the next part here.
And there is a handy dandy questionnaire, 20 questions.
We get to play 20 questions, baby.
Yes.
Super fun.
To get to know your character. No, what it is it helps you get your character from your head down onto paper with something that is tangible and workable for this game. After that, we set up our traits. Now, we have 5 traits, and they all start at 2, and you get to add an additional 2 points to allocate wherever you wish. Now, our traits are brawn, which is our strength and physical power; finesse, which is our agility and dexterity; resolve, which is our willpower and endurance; wits, how quick our character can think on their feet; and panache, our charm and social magnetism. Ho ho. After this, our traits, we add our national bonuses. So whatever nation we hail from, it gives us certain bonuses to our traits. And usually, actually, I believe all of them are a one of either or stat. Yeah, they're not. There's no this stat gets a +2 and this stat gets a +1. No,
yeah, they want to be balanced, right? They want to make sure that you're keeping things pretty balanced.
So you get 1 brawn or 1 finesse, right? Or you get 1 wits and 1 resolve, something like that. After that, we figure out our background, and this is there's a fairly extensive list.
The background starts on 137 and the next section starts on 146. So you got 9 pages worth of background information. It's a Chaosium game. This makes sense.
Yes, there we go. That's where it is. So some of the backgrounds are locked behind certain nations. Some are, I believe, specific to gender even. But these are anything ranging from Jenny, which is a lady of the night, to a artisan, an assassin, to a professor, and everything in between.
Yeah, they really want to make sure the game is based around telling a story. Your background is incredibly important.
It is. The background gives you a quirk to play towards. This gives us hero points when you fulfill it, as well as advantages and skills. Speaking of skills, once we get our background locked in, we move on to the skills. And we have 10 points to allocate across all of our skills. Now, there's a
fair amount of skills here.
Of skills, yes, there is.
And it's designed about custom creating your character, right? So, I mean, going back to the concept of your character, that should really highlight a lot of the skills of what you're looking at, right? Is my character a barroom fighter? Well, he's probably going to need skills that are going to benefit me fighting. Is he going to need skills for me to talk to somebody? Probably not, because the brawler's going to start talking with his fists kind of thing, right?
So, I say there's a lot of skills. There really is.
It's on par with other
skills.
TTRPGs, really.
Yeah. So the skills are aim, athletics, brawl, convince, empathy, hide, intimidate, notice, perform, ride, sailing, scholarship, tempt, theft, warfare, and weaponry. That's it. It sounds like a lot. It's not that bad.
A lot
and
of
you
these
get 10
skills, like
points.
I said, you're not going to be using a good amount of them, right? Like
no, because it makes no sense for the pirate to have scholarship.
Correct. Yeah, it's just like the concept of jack of all trades exists, but it doesn't play nicely in this game. The intention with this game is you've created the concept of your character. That concept leans into the traits that person has, where they come from, their background, and what they're skilled in. So it's very likely the barroom brawler I mentioned before obviously is going to have athletics, is going to have brawl, and is probably going to have intimidate. Are they going to care about scholarship? No, not really. Are they going to care about convincing? No, not really. Right? So a lot of those skills will just end up being dump stats for that type of character, and that's okay. Not all characters should be skilled in all things. That's why you have a party.
Again. Yeah, exactly. We have 10 points to allocate across all of these. Now, like I say, you don't have to choose any. You can. I will say there you can get up to rank 3.
Yeah, you can't just dump all 10 into one spot.
No, you can get up to rank 3 in a single skill for character creation, and you can grow
later.
Later, but up to level 3. Now, gaining extra ranks in these adds additional bonuses beyond the additional dice to the dice pool. At rank 3 specifically, you gain the ability to reroll any single die when you take a risk using that skill. Now, we'll get into risks in a hot minute. Just bear with us. At rank 4, you gain the ability to earn 2 raises, and we'll get over raises in a hot minute.
Those are the sets of 10. That's what the raise is. So
you get to increase those by to 15 instead of 1 raise per set of 10, and that's very confusing even to me.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll set that aside for right now.
Yeah. At rank 5, all dice that roll a 10 explode.
Yes.
And basically what this means is that you get to roll that dice again and add that to the total.
Yep.
So you don't take the 10 away, you add the 10 in, and then you re-roll it. And if you get another 10,
you keep going, baby.
Keeps rolling.
Yep.
And your cumulative number just keeps growing by that.
This would be equivalent to a crit of sorts, like a benefit for critting almost kind of thing.
That is a very cool system in here.
It's so cool. And I think it bears mention just before we move too far on here that the skills and the traits are what make up your dice pool. You will get this many dice for traits, right? Because we had, whatever it was, the 2 in brawn, let's say. So I get 2 dice for brawn, and then I have 3 dice for brawl. I have my 3 there. I add that together. I am now rolling 5 dice. There are modifiers and other stuff, but this is the basic concept. And the reason why we want to increase these skills, especially in areas that we're good in and the way our character is in, is because those will be the moments that will come up. The GM will say, this person rises at the bar and challenges everyone in the room to a fight. That's time for your barroom brawler to stand up and show them what's up. Because you're built for this type of scenario.
This is what you do.
So you'll have a large amount of dice. You're aiming for sets of 10. As you rank up, those rules change a little bit, and away we go. So this is a really rough shot of how the system works. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but very, very cool, and I love it.
Yes. Next up after our skills is advantages.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of them as well, because there are a lot of options in everything.
Yeah, advantages start on 148 and go to 155, just so 7 pages worth.
And we have 5 points to buy, quote unquote, advantages. Now these costs are any range from 1 to 5. So you could just buy 1 advantage, but you had better hope that comes up often.
And these would be equivalent to like a D&D feat of sorts. They give you stuff. They're different things, and they do different stuff. So depending on how your character is, flip through the pages, find some that match, buy them with your points, and write them on your sheet.
Yep. Find something that looks cool and that you think you'll use.
And if you have a cool GM, I'm sure if you write it down and you don't actually like it, they'll let you swap it out. Don't worry about that. Or if they won't let you swap it out,
something will happen.
Yeah, kill your character and go on to something else. No big deal.
That's right. We love character deaths here. After that, we have Arcana. Now, this is where the magic comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we get to pick a virtue and a hubris from any of the 20 options available to us.
Thanks, John Wick and Chaosium.
We can mix and match these, or we could leave them up to fate and draw random cards.
That's what I'm doing.
That's what I'm doing as well.
100%. Every time. You give me a choice for random, it's random every time. Random.
That's right. And these can be activated once per session at no cost, but usually require a specific circumstance to come about for them to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's for the virtues. The hubris can be activated once per session as well. Activating your hubris grants you a hero point.
Which is a bonus. You're going to want those.
Which is a bonus, because all bonuses are good bonuses.
Hero points are the equivalent to like a D&D advantage. They'll give you an extra die. They'll help a buddy out. They'll re-roll something. They do stuff.
Yeah. After all of that, we aren't done yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're still in the character creator here.
we're still creating characters here. We get to our story.
Yep. Because that's what this game's about.
Background wasn't enough. We needed to have a backstory. Now, the purpose of this is why your character is out doing what he or she is doing, right? This is why you are a pirate. This is why you are not the queen sitting on the throne, but the queen going out in the night.
Exactly.
Seeking vengeance.
Why is the queen going out at night instead of sitting at home eating cake?
Exactly. So this is the story, and this is separate from your party's story.
Yep. This is your story
going on. So your story is an attainable kind of goal that you work towards through the actions of you and your party.
Yep.
All of your party is working towards individual goals as well as the party goal. It's convoluted. it's a big story,
but it's
a
fun,
thing.
and you need it. If you're going to have a game that lives or dies on the story, this is necessary, right?
It is
a little bit of a thing. I mean, the stories, it takes up about 3 pages, which was interesting to me, but I get that they can't tell you how to write your story. They can simply just guide you into it.
It is a how to write your story guidelines kind of thing. Like you can do the typical, someone wronged me, I'm out to get vengeance on them. Well, that's it doesn't have to be
that's the bang on.
That's the coward's way out.
ChatGPT, help me write a story.
Yeah, there we go. So after all of this, finally, last up, we are entering the nitty-gritty details of our character sheet, and this is basically filling out any and all empty spaces.
This is the part that is the character creation in every other game. It's like, okay, now that you've gotten to this point, fill out your character sheet.
Fair. Yeah. So we're talking languages, we're talking reputation, secret societies that you happen to be a part of, wealth, wounds, and that's about all that's left.
Yeah, we're just filling out the boxes at this point, so not a big deal. If you don't know what an area means, the rule book is very well laid out, so you can flip through and find out exactly what you want.
This is one of the easier rule books
really
to read
was.
through.
It was actually very nice to read through this after some of the other ones that we've gone through. Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Vampire Masquerade.
I didn't want to call it out exactly, but you are correct.
I'm going to.
That brings us into the next section, which is basically all about the game itself and how it works, right? And they refer to it as action and drama. That's basically the concept of it, starting on 166. Basically 168. I mean, the 166 takes you to the artwork. The artwork beautiful in this book, by the way. Absolutely
artwork
fantastic.
is beautiful in this book. Yes, it is.
And so the concept here is that, you kind of spoke to the traits and the skills and stuff like that. But the concept is that the game is based around risks. So you are going to be taking risks. And that's the lion's share of the action in 7C. Actions that are going to impact the story, such as the traits and the skills and the hero points and the raises, right? We're going to get into that here a little bit in depth, but the concept is you're going to do something, there is a risk to doing something, and something will happen from that, right? That's the gist of it.
That's the only time that you actually roll the dice.
Correct.
Is when there is a risk involved.
Yeah, we're only rolling dice at this point in the game, just so you know.
Yes.
But you roll a lot of them, so it's kind of like over time you build up and then you roll them.
it makes up for it.
It does,
yeah. Traits make up about half of your roll, right? Again,
traits are the left
about
hand.
this a little bit, yes, and skills are the right
hand.
And we clump them together because everybody shakes in a clasped circle, right? Like all together now and out, right? Traits are what you're going to lean on to help resolve dangerous and risky actions. Essentially, it's talking about how quick and nimble you are, how strong you are, how charming you are. They are what's going to dictate what kind of skill you're going to be, how you're going to resolve this situation.
It's the foundation of your response to the risk, right? Am I using my brain here? Am I using my speed? Am I using my strength? What is it that I'm going to use that exists within me, my personal traits? Yeah. Because it's one of 5 things. And you're going to select one of those things. So that's step 1. That's your left hand.
Again, these are ranked 2 to 5.
That's right.
So obviously, you're going to lean into the one that you're better at so that you get more dice in your dice pool.
Get out of the way and let someone else handle it.
Exactly. Skills are the training and education that you've gotten over your life. Yeah. And this is going to be the other half of the dice that you deal with. And
and that's a big long list of all the things: aim, brawl, weaponry, warfare, etc. They're all listed in the book. The traits on 169 and the skills are also on 160.
And those can be ranked from 0 to 5 as well. So you can get up to 10 D10 to roll at once, and that's pretty cool.
That's a good handful of dice. That. Yeah.
Again, risks are defined as in the game as the dangerous or important actions that are taken, and normal actions like opening a door, walking down the street aren't risky. Therefore, you don't have to do any rolling. Even dodging doesn't really have to take any rolling.
Depending on the context, right? Like
any idiot can dodge.
You can step out of the way pretty easily. You can't step out of the way of a cannonball right against your chest.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a cannonball, though.
and that's kind of the concept behind it is this a risky action? Because if it's a risky action, that's now something, that's what we're going to go into here.
Jumping up onto the table to get the high ground is less risky than riding the chandelier rope that you just cut up to the second level. Yeah. Right. And of course, these all have consequences and opportunities that's GM dependent, right?
Yeah. And the game breaks it down exactly into that. 3 elements, essentially: your approach, the consequences, and the opportunity.
Bingo. So the approach is how the hero is going to solve the problem using the skill or trait, and you want to roll for the risk. So you analyze the situation and go, I'm going to use X and Y trait and skill together.
The bar patron stands up and cocks his fist back, ready to slug you in the face. That's the approach.
And the consequences are exactly that.
You're about to get punched in the face.
Should things not go as you expect during this risk, and the form of hurt that's going to be hindering that kind of thing. You get the opportunities as well.
Right.
And these are the inverse of the consequences, and these are the things that you gain by doing things like this. So once you announce your intention, once you announce your intentions, you are locked in.
That's right.
This is no out of character. I'm going to do this. Nope. No.
If you say I'm going to duck his punch and come up with an uppercut, that is your approach. That is now locked in. You are done. You've made your decision, which you're likely going to use brawn, right? You could use finesse to dodge. Right?
Yes, you could.
Right? So finesse, we're going to use finesse to dodge. And a
quick jab instead of an uppercut.
And then we're going to use brawl for the uppercut. Yep. So we take the set of dice that we have for finesse. We take the set of dice we have for brawl. We roll them out. And then our GM is going to look at us and go, okay, now we've got to figure this out, right?
We are aiming for sets of 10.
Those are the raises.
So those are the raises. So we want to see all those. We want to see as many 10s as we can.
A lot of 10s. Yeah.
A lot of 10s.
Because the GM's going to identify how many raises you need to have in order for this to be considered a success.
I didn't see if there was a general guideline of like a regular action takes, or the regular kind of situation takes X amount of raises.
Everything in that case was all dependent on the situation, right? Like, because it's all, and there's a whole section on like pressure, there's a flare, there's a lot of stuff in there where it mostly kind of boils down to the GM kind of making the call on it. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we get into the DM stuff, because they refer to it as the 3 hats, right? And when you have to be the referee, it's essentially giving you a scenario of like, what is the scenario? Because the players are the ones that are setting the stage for what they want to do. Yeah. And you're applying the raises to what it is they want to do. So it's kind of like a partnership in a way.
Yeah. I was just wondering if there was a
like a
standard
table
attack takes it's roughly 3 raises for it to succeed or something like that.
It's a Chaosium game, so it's a little more in depth and open for the GM, but yeah.
No,
getting punched in the face and shot in the face, different types of risk, right? So.
Very different, yeah. But I can see the first couple situations going drastically one way or the other, as the GM kind of is testing the waters to see what kind of results we're getting.
Absolutely.
But that being said, after we have counted and said I've got this many raises, we run through either the consequence or the opportunity that happens. So we either succeed or fail. And then that is about all we ever roll up on.
Yep.
There's not a lot of other rolling going on.
Because after
in this game.
the story comes back and we start telling the story again until the next risk comes along, and then we rinse and repeat.
Yeah. A very simple system that way.
And I like appreciate that. I like this D10 system in what it does, because like, don't get me wrong, I love rolling a D20. It is one of my favorite things to do. But the concept of like rolling a handful of dice and getting these sets of 10, it almost adds another level of pressure to it, right?
Yeah.
You roll a D20, you roll a 1, you're like, whatever, I'll get it next time. But you know how rare, I guess we'll call it, these risks are that are coming around. So if you've dropped the ball here, that's going to be a problem.
Well, and you have ways of making it better chances for yourself.
Exactly.
Right? If you can work towards it being something in your favor, so you can roll that mitt full of 10d10 to get your raises out of it, or not.
Hero points.
Hero points, because we've been talking about them this whole time and haven't actually said what they really do.
Page 177 is where you're going to find them in the book if you're following along.
Yes, so they can be used to activate special abilities. Specifically, you can give dice to another character.
Yep. You can gain more for yourself if you need to.
Accept it. Yeah, it's a really cool system. Gimmick.
Yep. It's similar. Like Pathfinder uses hero points too. It's kind of similar. Yeah. It's in the same vein. It's not the same by any means.
No.
But the concept is kind of the same. They're there for when you need them, or when your ability says you must use a hero point to activate this, and then something really cool happens, right? Because they're a commodity. Yes. They're a rarer commodity, right?
They are. HP in this game takes the form of a death
we don't
spiral.
Really have hit points here.
I love this.
This is a cool concept. Yep.
This is one of my favorite things that I might have to steal for everything that I do from here on out, because there's no counting, 40 hit points. I don't have
47 HP. I've got a wound tracker.
I've got a wound tracker, and I don't know if you know anything about the 17th century Europe. Wounds are
They're
hard
a big
to
deal.
heal. They're a big deal. Huge. So this is at the very bottom center of the character sheet. It's a really cool little picture of it. And it represents how many wounds you can take. And there are circles and stars. And each normal wound... the circles are normal wounds, and the dramatic wounds are the stars. And each of these stars will give a different effect from there on out.
Yeah, it gets worse as you go.
As things get worse. Yes, they get very bad.
I do want to point out, though, that the very first serious wound is so cool, because the very first serious wound you take is a +1 bonus die to all risks. So that very first serious wound, you're like, that's it. It's time for me to get serious, because you're now adding an extra die into your dice pool.
Yeah.
I like that. So it gets awful after, but that first one is actually not that bad.
So the second wound, the second major wound is bad.
Oh, yeah.
The villains gain +2 bonus die. Yeah,
that's
that's
good.
bad. But the third one is your D10s explode. Now, you don't have to have rank 5 in a skill. All of your D10s, all of your 10s explode, which is very cool. That's very helpful. And then after that, you die.
Dead. Yeah, that's the end of your character.
So you become helpless. You're not dead. You become helpless.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You are no longer. You are no longer adventuring.
We don't use those terms anymore. Yeah.
We don't die. We always live to fight.
The concept
another day.
is you catch a second wind there, and that's why your 10s explode, which is really cool.
Because you're near death.
I like the idea of not tracking HP with numbers. Like, good on them for trying something fresh, right? So we've already replaced the D20. Now we've replaced the HP system as well. Very cool idea. I like this a lot. It's not easy to get rid of wounds. So once you don't really want to get them, but
you don't sleep for a night and get it gone.
But
I'm looking at you, D&D.
It's a very cool concept. I do like that. I think 5e needs in the long rest mechanics not
they need
full
a
health.
wound system.
It needs to have long-term damage, but that's for another podcast.
That's for a whole other thing. Yeah. We're not salty there.
That's right. Yeah. Page 196 is where you will find the entry for monsters, and the entries here, but the monsters aren't, because it kind of takes a create your own type of scenario, right? So the book is going to give you a few pages to chew on. It's going to give you the concept of like how to create a character, how to create a monster, and what you might need to do in order to build your own. But I think the intention here was that monsters are super rare. Like you're fighting other pirates or soldiers or whatever it is, because there isn't a monster manual here.
I feel like the idea of this is that because there's no fantastical races, right? We are just fighting other people and they are just very bad people. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get
we
it.
could have like a Dracula kind of
it's a little
thing going
vanilla.
on.
Like, I mean, I immediately went to thinking when I saw monsters, I immediately started thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's like Davy Jones with his like tentacle face.
I mean, we could, but if essentially Davy Jones is just
still a
man
person
with tentacles. Yeah.
And maybe that's the case too. I don't know.
Right.
I'm always a little disappointed when a RPG doesn't include any monsters at all. Right?
Yeah.
What I would have really liked to see here at the bare minimum would have been archetypes. So give me like the minion,
the typical
the
cultist.
soldier,
Yeah.
the various things, so that I know how to build those characters. But I think the intention here is you build a villain, which is essentially like building another character, right? And that is the person. Like there's things
That's
in that
the bad guy.
set of pages for monsters that you can deal with, but it's definitely not like any other system that I've seen, because it's encouraging you to have the villains more so than fill it full of monsters.
Yeah, exactly. And this game leans heavily on like the political intrigue.
Yeah, there's a lot of storytelling
stuff
here.
like that. Yeah, it again focuses mostly on storytelling, and I mean there is story in the monster of the week kind of thing, but
it's one of those things.
There's another game for that. Sorcery on page 206. This is the magic of the game. Is intense.
There's a lot there.
There's a
lot
there,
in magic.
We cannot cover that in
There's
this podcast because
30 pages worth just dedicated to the magic alone.
And we're not talking text here or tables here. We're all
There's
text.
a lot. There's a lot in there.
But just so that you know, you have the ability to use form of magic in the game, and it's all depends on where your character hails from, i.e. nation that you are from. Each location gets its own sets and ideals of what magic is, and it's practiced, and what spells go with it. There are a lot of cool stuff.
Like Avalon is
cool
all
spells.
based on like knighthood. Like you empower the abilities of like a knight. Whereas like what was the one, like it was like Hexen work or something like that. It was the concept of like basically casting black magic, right? Like using blood magic and stuff like that.
Probably the
right. Like I mean, it's just like there's it's crazy. There's a lot in there. In the ways that
there's
you can
a
cast
lot of
magic.
cool
There's
stuff
a lot of really cool stuff, but obviously it's worth thumbing through because it's a component of the game, so you're gonna want to check it out and make sure what's going on, because this might actually dictate where your character comes from, assuming that you're gonna want to use magic, right? So
depends on what kind of concept you're
depending on what your character is going to look like. You may want to review this before creating your character so that you have a really good understanding of what you're getting into.
I do believe that when they outline of the nations, they say what kind of magic
it's kind of in there as well.
So it's a little blurb, not much though, not much to go off of. We got dueling because 17th century Europe loves their duels, and I mean,
you have to have dueling in this game.
You have to have dueling.
It has to be in this game.
How
else are you going to throw my name is Inigo Montoya, You kill my father. Prepare to die. How are you going to put that in this game? It has to be in here somewhere.
It has. Yeah, exactly. And it's on page 234.
234, baby.
Ta-da. And again, it goes over all the details of how to set up a duel, how to play the duel, how to do all
and
that.
it's like literally slash, parry, feint, lunge, bash, riposte. Like literally a duel. Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool concept.
The big thing with 7C is the sailing. Like, it is a major part of this book.
Another 20 pages.
It's another 20 pages of sailing and naval warfare. It's so cool. I was originally looking up something for something. I can't remember what. And I was looking at naval combat. Okay. So I was people were trying to, shoehorn naval combat into D&D. People are like, why don't you just use 7C? Because it's all in there
already done.
Already.
If you want something simpler, maybe it's a pirate Borg situation.
Exactly. Yeah. Something like that. But this is how I first heard of 7C, and this is where it came from. It starts on page 242, and there are types of sailors, there are various crew members, superstitions that they might believe in, types of ships and how they're built and what they're made of and where it comes from.
There's a lot of stuff here.
There's
a lot of stuff here. And like the concept of ship battles and sea monsters and other stuff that might exist there.
And it's always important to the story.
Yes.
Everything's important.
Absolutely.
Again, if your campaign has anything to do on the sea,
you will
have to read through this.
Yeah, you're going to want to get familiar with it. There's just too much here to get into the podcast. We're already running along as it is. But yeah.
Yeah. Secret societies are on page 258, and this game's version of various guilds and crews that might exist in your game. Certain factions, stuff like that control certain areas of the city or whatever.
And you can join them. You can work for them. You can make them mad. However it is that they fit into your game, that's what they're here for. And it goes over the various secret societies, which is very cool.
And then we're on to GM specific rules on page 247. Finally, the GM stuff.
274.
274. Yes, I apologize.
It's a little the dyslexia. It's the way it is. Yeah.
This is your basic run-of-the-mill GM stuff, like usual. But since it's one of the story-based focused stuff, they really hammer down on the story and the three hats.
I liked this concept. That was really cool, right?
I do as well. So you have the author, which is the maker of the story. You have the storyteller, the teller of the story, and you have the referee, which is protecting the story, being fair about it. And it really goes into detail about the jobs of each one of those and how what kind of game we're playing in, what's what and what's not. This is super good stuff in here for your session 0 to make sure that the game you're hosting is matching with the game the players want to play. Because with story-driven games, you have to be upfront with your players be like, hey, this is the kind of game I'm thinking we should play. I'm open to ideas from you guys, and because this is a very collaborative thing that we are going to be doing.
We're telling a collaborative story. We're while playing this game.
Yes. Yeah. Dare I say intimate. After that, we are on page 302, where we get the appendix. And this is a quick index, a quick lookups of some tables, some maps, the player sheet, and ta-da, the end of the book.
Reached the end of the book. Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of awesome stuff in here. The appendix is well listed out. The book is listed out very, very well. So if you need to find something, it is not difficult to find it. And I got to applaud them for that, because we've gone through quite a few books where I've complained very loudly to Finney off the recording of like, this book is impossible to follow. This one is very clean cut in order. I had zero issues getting through.
this was a treat to read through because
really
there was there wasn't a lot of jumping around
Nope.
with it. It was pretty concise and to the point as to where things were and how they're laid out in order. It was really nice that way.
Tell me where are you thinking of 7th Sea, Finn? Like, where's it ranking in your list of your giant list of TTRPGs?
So I love this game.
Yeah,
I'm in love. I adore this setting. This like Renaissance France kind of esque feel is it's perfect, especially for stuff like this, right? The style of play, like the story forward. I prefer story forward games over the crunchy nitty gritty counting mathing kind of things. And this hits all the right spots. It takes all of the crunchiness out of trying to learn a new game because we've got a simple dice system. You know, scoop up your D10s, roll them out, count them. 7th Sea, I think, would be a great game to sit down with your friend group who don't play TTRPGs or are new to TTRPGs, and you can. I feel like after you get through the lengthy character creation, I think after an hour of play, you guys would be having a pretty good, smooth time. That's about where I sit on it. What about you?
I think this is a very cool concept for a game. I mean, honestly, who doesn't love a good fantasy pirate theme? You know, like I had said it when we were talking about Pirate Borg, and the playing a tabletop RPG with pirates is it's up my alley. I really, really enjoy that. Right. I think the game is solid, really, from the top to the bottom. I had mentioned before, but the artwork in this book is beautiful. They did a fantastic job here.
It is beautiful.
This is obviously story driven, right? So it's gonna create a concern with a group that wants to do the things that pirates want to do and run into town and burn things down and start fights and stuff. So the GM is gonna have an interesting time here, but having a table full of storytellers, this one is absolutely gonna hit the mark for you, right? The D10 system I really like that. I like the D10 system, and I also like the hit point system. I think that those are two very, very unique things for this game that absolutely hit the mark, in my opinion. They're really cool. I think this is a game to check out if you haven't already, and at bare minimum you should check the freebie out, the quickstart guide that's at the Chaosium website. And give it a look through, because there's a lot going on in this, and I think it's good. Yeah, very good.
We do usually say who the artist is in these, but there's like 7.
There's a lot, yeah. It's one of those scenarios where there's a lot. But to all the artists who worked on this game, well done. You're the best.
Thank you,
and congratulations on doing such a great job.
And that's it. That's all.
So I mean, I guess, Finn, that's going to take us right on into the next section, which, as you know, is the post pod. Post pod. Post pod. Post pod. Post pod. Post pod. Gets better every time. Vinny, this week, the post pod question. What do you think separates a good GM from a great GM?
Well, I'll tell you what it isn't.
Okay, sure.
And it's not voices.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
Yep. Just because you can do good voices doesn't make you a great GM?
Contrary to popular belief, just because you can do good voices and impersonations does not make you a good GM.
Okay, message received. No, I was kidding.
No. What that means is
it takes more effort than voices.
You can put whatever fluff you want around it, but if the content isn't there,
the game's still boring.
It's not anything. Yes. A good GM from a great GM would be someone that I personally don't think they should pull punches.
Agreed.
There's no punch pulling. That their story is on point and very not hand-holdy, but easy to follow along, right? Something that they keep always trickling enough bits in front of you that you are basically walking the railroad that they lay down for you without being railroaded. That's what I think is the difference between a good GM, which has those, but not as it's more noticeable that you look and you say, oh, this is the way we are supposed to go. Okay, I get this. Whereas the great GM will be, you have this, and this to do. What would you like to do? Well, we should go this way. And GM's like, haha, that's exactly what I planned for you. So that's the best I got. It's a little more intuitive once you sit down and play with a good GM versus a great GM. That really shows its colors when you sit down and play at their table. Now, have I played with great GMs and good GMs? I'm not at liberty to say that. How about you?
So for me, the great GM, okay, so the great GM, in my opinion, is prepared but not over prepared, knows how to spot things at the table and change course when needed, right? I completely agree with you pulling your punch. I think the great GM knows how the story needs to go. Not pulling your punches, in my opinion, doesn't mean completely destroying the players, right?
No.
There are times when you do need to pull back a little bit. In my opinion, the great GM can spot those moments because it's done in the best interest of the story. It's not to save the player. It is to make the best possible story, because in my opinion, when I'm DMing a game, I'm constantly driving towards those moments. I want those players to walk away from the table and be, oh, I can't believe this happened. Wasn't that insane when this happened, right? I want those moments. If that takes place, then in my opinion, I did my job as a GM. And the great GMs do that very easily, right? With very little. There's a lot of work that they're doing, but it doesn't look like they're doing it, right? And in my opinion, that is what is the great GM. The good GM, anybody can GM a game. A good GM will show up with notes and stuff and give you answers. But I agree with you. The fluff isn't what makes the great GM either, right? A lot of people would point to Matt Mercer or Brennan Lee Mulligan as great DMs, and they are great DMs, but they're not great DMs because they have the ability to tell a story or to use voices. They're great GMs because they know how the table needs to work, and they know how to just dangle things in front of the players enough to get their story to pop off the way they need it.
I would also add that they listen to the players. It's not the GM's way or the highway. It's the players and the GM working together.
Yeah, the players give the idea, the GM paints the picture, right? Like,
yes, exactly.
It's very much in that method. Exactly. So in my opinion, that's kind of what it is. By the way, you need something to strive towards. If you're sitting there going like, well, thanks, guys, I guess I'm not a great GM. You are a great GM.
No,
if you're sitting in that chair, you are a great GM, right? But you should always have something to strive for to do better. And reading the table is a very difficult skill, especially when you have a table full of people who are wildly different from each other.
Yeah. I will say any DM is a good DM. Yep. Thank you for
DMing. We appreciate you,
because we understand how tough that is and how awful that job can be, but also how rewarding it is. Yeah. And
that's it. That's all. I mean, listen, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. We really appreciate you. This podcast streams out from all of the stereotypical places. You can find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube at youtube.com/@DadGamingOnline. We also stream our Dungeons and Dragons games every single Sunday night at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can find those games at that same YouTube channel and as well on Twitch at twitch.tv/DGOnline.
You can also reach us at by email at mastersofpenandpaper@gmail.com. Drop us a howdy do and we'll get back to you. We also have a Discord server. Drop links to those in the description below. Come check us out on our Discord. That's where DG and I hang out basically
chat with us
forever.
And ask us all your burning
day.
questions.
Yeah.
Anything you ever wanted to know?
Yeah, we do have a D&D tabletop RPG kind of section in there with we get to talk about D&D and TTRPG.
How could it get any better than that?
Exactly. There's other stuff going on the server, but that's the important part.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all. So episode 27 completed in the bag. And that means episode 28 is the next one coming at you in a couple weeks' time. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great one.
Take care, everyone.